ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स् 254 तदेतत्कृतकृत्यत्वं प्रतियोगिपुरःसरम् अनुसन्दधदेवायम् एवं तृप्यति नित्यशः। So we are talking about a bonus phalam given by Vidyaranya. Because the mantra discussion is over. The first line of the mantra gives a definition of Atma Jnana. One line definition. What is self-knowledge? Atmanam chit vijaniyat ayavasmi iti purushah. Purushah vijaniyat atmanam. This purusha, the seeker, knows the self or should know the self. Vijaniyat, potential. In which form? Ayam ahamasmi. This is what I am. This ayam is a very, very important word. Which is just in front. For that you use this pronoun called ayam. Ayam word can be used for two things. The meaning of the word ayam is this. This means what is in the front. What is pratyaksha. And ayam can be used for the thing which is immediate. A thing which even doesn't require any means of knowledge to know. That's the ayam. In fact, when you say ayam, means you are knowing it. Ayam is this, means it is an object of knowledge. Otherwise you cannot use word ayam. But this ayam cannot be pratyaksha. Why? Because ayam ahamasmi. This aham, I can never be an object of perception. Everything is an object of perception for a I. I is not an object of perception. To make the I as an object of perception, you need another I, who is a perceiver. And therefore, this aham cannot be pratyaksha. Therefore, the meaning of the word ayam is not pratyaksha here, this, but which is immediate. So you don't require even a means of knowledge to know. Such a thing is called ayam, which is immediate. If it is immediate and doesn't require means of knowledge and still I know as a ayam, then it is self-evident. Even pratyaksha also, the objects are evident to you through means of knowledge, senses. But if this does not require any means of knowledge and still I am knowing it, well, then it is just knowledge. It is self-evident consciousness. And what is self-evident is self-existent. This world which is evident through the means of knowledge called senses has been proven when they become object of knowledge. Their existence is proven when they are known. Anything exists for you when it becomes an object for knowledge to you. You say pot is. I say, how do you prove the existence of pot? Well, you say, I know it. It's in my front, I am knowing it, I am seeing it, whatever. And therefore, what is self-evident must be self-existent. What is self-existent is existence. Its nature is existence. Satyam. What is evident through means of knowledge is always mithya. Depends on the self-evident I to prove its existence. So simple. Satya Mithya Viveka is over. Self-evident I, Atma. What is evident to the self is Anatma, Mithya. Over. Vedanta is over. Really. Really, I mean it. These two lines, if it is understood in totality, this is just enough. What is mithya is always pervaded by satyam. And therefore, the entire world which is mithya depends on this self-evident I for its existence, shining, etc. is pervaded by the self, and therefore the self, I, the self-evident consciousness is limitless. That's it. It is Brahman. Because other than if consciousness doesn't prove the existence of a given thing, the given thing cannot be existent. Therefore, whenever anything is or anything becomes an object of knowledge, then definitely consciousness pervades. Or the given name and form exist. Given name and form shines, becomes object of knowledge in consciousness. Nothing is outside consciousness. Consciousness lends existence. Due to consciousness, object shines, becomes an object of knowledge. Everything exists in consciousness, including space. And therefore, the self-evident consciousness indicated by ayam is limitless, Brahman. Therefore, Atmanam chet vijaniyat ayamasmi iti Purusha. Purusha Atmanam vijaniyat. He knows this self as like this. Ayam ahamasmi. I am Brahman. So this is this is self knowledge. First line. Second line indicates, well then that's it. If you are everything, not identified to a given thing, particular body, then the conditions of the body, the attributes of the body also do not belong to you. The jvara do not belong to you. And therefore, this person who knows the Atma like this is free from anujvara. He is free from the sorrows born of this jvara of the bodies. So anujvara nivrutti or shok nivrutti is mentioned already. And Vidyaranya thought of, so that is over. This discussion on the mantra is over with the verse 250. So from 251 to 297, he gives a Jnana Phalam benefit of this knowledge as Trupti Prapti, a sense of fulfillment forever throughout his prarabdha. Till his body perishes, falls, this thing will not go. A sense of lack will never arise. Trupti Prapti. Knowing the self is ever fulfilled, limitless. Knowing the self as Nitya Truptaha. This Trupti is not at the level of a mind, not at the level of Ahankara. We will be seeing Ahankara is never Truptaha. Knowing the self, knowing the mind, he has no Trupti forever. But you are saying knowing the, at the level of Ahankara, there is not Trupti. Mind is Ahankara. How? Care of Druk, Drishya, Vivek. And therefore, so we have discussed, either you say mind, either you say Chidavasa, either you say Ahankara, ego. Same thing. Ahankara is just an experiential entity, like anything in the creation. There is no entity. There is only one entity in the world. That is I am Potti. There is only one entity. That is consciousness. Everything exists in consciousness with borrowed consciousness, borrowed existence. Atma is self-existent. Ahankara is existent on account of the self. Ahankara is not an entity. It is merely at experiential level. What is at the experiential level, you can forget. It goes off. It goes off. I experience a given thing, well, I forget it also. It comes, when it comes, I experience. It goes, I forget. You definitely disown Ahankara. You definitely disown. And there is a increase and decrease also in Ahankara. And I will be talking about that more. So therefore, here, he, at the level of his self, Atma, which is complete, which is the entity, which is the essence, the truth of everything. He claims that self. And therefore, well, he says, I am Nitya Truptaha. That will not go because that is the nature. What is at the level of a mind, ahankara will go. It's in the form of a vritti that goes. That's how trupti is born at the level of mind when we experience something favorable, pleasurable. It goes, it comes back, goes. Intensity also varies. Priyamoda, pramoda, all. This person says, well, I am nitya truptaha. Amazing it is. Knowing the self, which is immediate, aparokshaha, knowing the self as it is, which is only entity in the creation, which never goes, come back, and which is limitless. Claiming that, well, he has a trupti. Anyway, both phalam have been brought about by the Atma Jnanam by changing the mindset naturally. And in Bhagavad Gita, well, we used to call it from the Yoga Buddhi to the Sankhya Buddhi. And this mindset is, well, due to consistent Shravana. If you want to change the mindset, well, and if we want to have a mindset of a Jnani, what Jnani has done we should do. And that is keep on listening and listening and listening. No other way. Paunah punnena shravanam kuryat. Because that orientation, a wrong orientation is there, which is now in the form of a well-rooted habit. And therefore, to change that, you need to, well, listen again and again. And this change in mindset requires 4 types of changes. The first thing is, well, you learn to look at yourself from standpoint of nitya trupta atma, not from the standpoint of ahankara. Never claim ahankara as yourself. It's an object of experience for you. Any object of experience I should not claim. All experience takes place because of I. That I is free from definitely experience and object of experience. That's the first thing. Second thing is never looking at any activity as a means of gaining moksha. Every activity, well, ultimately is a lokakshema, lokasangraha, but not as a means of knowledge. Why? Because I am nitya mukta. Third, never look at moksha as sadhyam to be accomplished. It is my nature. Fourth, and my emotions to the Lord basically should be in the form of admiration of a anatma as Vishwarupa Atma. Everything is self. That's it. Whenever you experience something, well, all this experience, all the objects of experiencing are ultimately the manifestation of one self. So basically, either you say it is in the form of a Lord, either you say it is in the form of the self, but ultimately it is this. And I should practice this 4 type of changes. Means to change the mindset with these 4 factors ultimately for a length of time. And then, well, definitely both phalam, anujjara nivrutti, shoka nivrutti, and trupti prapti, well, will naturally happen. Naturally. So Vidyaranya says, well, when I look at myself as Atma and imagine my struggles as Ahankara, well, then I definitely contrast. What? What contrast? I contrast this Ahankara Pradhana Atma Buddhi and Sakshi Pradhana Atma Buddhi. I contrast these two things. And contrast in many ways. At the level of Ahankara, there is always Ashanti. At the level of a Sakshi, Atma, etc., there is a Shanti. So Vidyaranya gives a hint here how to contrast this. With self-assessment from both the angles, ultimately. Contrasting means self-assessment. Because there are two self. One is capital and the other is small. So there is a clear assessment. One is crooked, one is a straight. Crooked and straight. And therefore, definitely never resort to crooked. If you resort to crooked, the next step, the next thing which comes in your life is Ashanti. And therefore, never claim. Henceforth, Pancadasi students should not claim anything at the level of individuality. If that remains predominant, Ahankara remains predominant, Atma Jnanam can never take place. This is the way you are saying, you try to impress us, but we are not going to. But this is experience. When Ahankara resolves, there is nothing but the self and nothing but the joy. That's how it is. Ishvara has given this experience. The Ahankara resolves into his cause called ignorance. Then there is just joy. No Vishaya Vasana, nothing else. Yet there is a joy. You are there, Ahankara is not there, and any other object is not there. You see yourself, you experience yourself as a boundless. There is nothing but joy. That shows that Ahankara should not be given importance, the reality in a waking state. That becomes a conducive to gain knowledge. That's what today's topic is. Anyway, and therefore, there should be a self-assessment from Ahankara angle and Atma angle. It's definitely a contrasting. One is limited, one other is limitless, etc. And in verse 253, if you see, he talked about this, a samsari, or he talked about the person who has given a more importance to Ahankara. So, he assesses himself from the Ahankara standpoint, and you can see very well there, Ahika Amushmika Vrata Siddhyai Muktescha Siddhai. Well, he will be constantly running for either for Iha Phalam, Amushmika Phalam, or for Moksha. So, he is constantly running. Ahankara is compared with an auto. And therefore the Ahankara writes his biography is called autobiography. So because he's an auto. That's what they say. Therefore, like auto runs here and there, so therefore this person during a waking state, in order to gain three types of things, Ahika, Amushmika or Moksha, well, definitely he is running. All at the level of Ahankara. I don't require any of this phalam because I am not Ahankara. That's it. This is how it is. So anyway, in this verse 254, Vidyaranya contrasts these two assessments, self-assessments. Pratiyogi Purassaram. Pratiyogi, which is contrasting. Purassaram, which has gone before. So by contrasting these two self-observations, anusandhatata, constantly thinking about the moksha by this contrast method, trupyati, he feels total contentment. Na jivane vairagyam, na marane vairagyam. Ahankara has born, ahankara is gone. Which is not an entity, which is just an experience. Like any other experience in the world, ahankara also has a reality up to experience. More than experience, no reality. Just because it is experience, I am accepting its existence. Experiential existence is called mithya. Experiential existence. The whole world, including the perceiver of the world. But the content of both the perceiver and the object of perception is one thing, and that is consciousness. Perceiver exists due to consciousness. The object of perception is never away from consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness alone is a reality of both. Anyway, so, well, definitely, trupyati, this person knowing the self like this, well, he has total contentment. So, ahankara has birth and death and all this. The Atma has no birth and death. So, he is not afraid of even punarjanma, etc. And now the self-assessment we have to talk about further. So, he will explain all the three levels of a ahankara, samsari, how he is running as auto here and there. So that, and then so he compares here. So the samsari, the ahankara has a three things to achieve, and is jnani, who has known the atma, atmanam chet vijaniyat ayam asmi, that jnani has none. Nothing is to be achieved for him. So this is a contrast. Ahankara has three things to achieve, and he is constantly running, he is struggling. Jnani has nothing to achieve. He is free from struggle. And he claims this Atma which is free from the struggle. So evam means in this following manner now, in the following verses, now we'll show the contrast between two selves. Two self-assessments we are doing. First line of the three verses now will give the assessment of the self at the ahankara level. The second line of the given verse, will contrast with the first line. The self-assessment, well, is contrasted by the first line. And naturally the second line will be the self is the Brahman, Atma, Sakshi. Okay. So now from verse 255 onwards, we'll see these two self-assessments which are contrary. Ahankara level, Atma. And thereby we are actually verse 254 itself we are now elaboratingly discussing. Verse 255. Dukkhino jnasam sarantu kamam putradyapekshaya paramananda purnoham samsarami kimichhaya. So ajnaha, it says here, you can understand now very well. Ajnaha, so naturally this ignorant people means this is a self-assessment at the level of what? Ahankara. For whom? But Swamiji, how can you say ignorant means ahankara? Whoever is ignorant, they will claim ahankara. What else? For them, there is no Atma. There is no Atma. Even if you say that you are Atma, you are Nitya Mukta, etc., you say, they will put you in the hospital, that mad people's hospital. Yeah. They will not. They say, I am an individual, born, etc. Therefore, Ajnaha. Ahankara is born. which is at the experience level is, or what is at the experience level which you take it as real is born of just ignorance. What is there is just self. What is there is just self, but you don't take it as a self. You take a given thing, a object of experience, etc., as yourself. That is ahankara, you take it as yourself. You take yourself as an individual, jiva, human being, this, that, whatever, born, have a limited life. All this is at the level of ahankara, born of ignorance. So agnyaha dukkhinaha samsarantu. Samsarantu. Let them struggle. So let them perform all these worldly things. Because why? And then they suffer also. Dukkhinaha bhavantu. Dukkhinaha samsarantu. Because they look upon themselves as a ahankara, and therefore they are dukkhi. And in order to get rid of dukkham, they are running here and there like auto. So they miss many things in the process. And as a ahankara can never be complete in all respects. This is to be known. This is to be known. Iha mutrartha phalabhoga viragaha is really applicable here. People try always to take the ahankara to the next level, thinking that the day will come, I will be complete. Once I am complete, I will throw it out and take to the path of the self. That thing is never going to happen. That thing is never going to happen even for Ishvara. If Ishvara also has ahankara, and he has through Maya, I am Ishvara, karma phaladata, etc. His ahankara also, as ahankara, Ishvara has many complaints for human beings, not for anybody. How can you say, you are too much, huh, Swamiji? Look at Bhagavad Gita, the way he said, Naradhamaha, Stenas, so much, Mudaha. What? Shows frustration on part of Ishvara. Understand this very well. If Ishvara also is a ahankara, then Ishvara, we will not take it as a jnani. Kya baat hai? Ahankara will be there. You understand ahankara as a mithya. That's what it is. That's what he understands. That's what he understands, that I have this Ishvarattam, etc. I am Ishvara is a mithya thing. Like even our jnani also understand the same way. And therefore, as a Ishvara, he has complaints. In fact, he is trying and trying and trying for to convert this atheist into theist. He is constantly waiting that these atheists, they are running in the opposite direction. They should at least, once they should, turn their head and look towards me. Then I am ready always with the packets of grace. But no one. In whole Bhagavad Gita, several times he has talked as Ishvara. No, Swamiji, he has talked as Brahman. Brahman cannot talk. What are you saying? He clearly says, Pitahamasya Jagataha Mata Dhata Pitamaha. Aham Pita is not Aham Brahman. It's simply Ahankara. Jagataha Pita, Jagataha Pitamaha. And as a Pita Pitamaha, he has so many complaints. Ahankara can never be complete in all respects. Giving up all the pursuits at the level of ahankara, understanding clearly that those pursuits can never complete ahankara, the individual me, is called vairagyam. Giving up. Not giving up physically. Understanding the insignificance of all the pursuits which are at the level of ahankara is vairagya. That is how you can see here in the verse 253, Iha Mushmika. Aihika amushmika vrat siddhyai. The samsari has a aihika amushmika vratam. Bunch of things. List. Aihikam, pertaining to this world. Amushmikam, pertaining to other world. Or other janmas. Bunch of things to be accomplished, to be accomplished. That is samsari. Aihika amushmika phala bhoga viraga. Iham trat phala. Then definitely to look upon oneself as just Atma becomes so clear. If you don't claim ahankara, well, definitely understanding that, well, I can never be complete in all respects at that level, and therefore whatever I acquire, I will always remain a complaining fellow, and thereby you lose the insignificance of those things. It's called vairagya. Now you can understand one who has a sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, for him how atmajnanam becomes so easy. This is how it is. The vairagya is a condition. In Vivek Chudamani, if I am not wrong, Shankaracharya ji, after discussing after sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, he says, because so many, right, in list, if we don't have even a little, one value in little, one sampatti in little measure, all this, viveka, vairagya, shama, daba, uparmati, so you feel frustrated. So he understands that. So he said, don't worry, I am telling you what are the most important. And there he mentions vairagyam, second, mokshutvam. That's it. You can refer to that verse, I don't remember the verse. But he mentioned these two as the most important. And you can understand how if vairagyam is there, for him the very ahankara becomes insignificant. All the objects, you have insignificance for all the objects which are at the level of ahankara. If they become insignificant, ahankara also becomes insignificant. Understanding ahankara as a mithya, claiming the sakshi's atma becomes easy. If so vairagya is not there, jnanam will not take place. Never. More raga dvesha, ahankara is predominant. Ahankara is real. When ahankara is real, ahankara is present, the sakshi has no scope to manifest itself. Poor fellow. Sakshi, only in a deep sleep state it manifests. Otherwise, no. I'm just trying to connect that this is how the things are. Anyway, so the Bhagavan also has a Vyavaharika Drishtya from the Ahankara level. He is also unhappy. That is very understood. But by Swarupam, well, he is Purna. That is how. But how can you say, Swamiji, has he claimed that I am Purna? He has claimed. He has claimed. In 3rd chapter, he has claimed. I have nothing to achieve here, etc., etc. He said, I have nothing to achieve, Arjuna. Still, I am very much engaged in this activity, etc. And therefore, you also do, etc., etc. He says that. Name parthasti kartavyam kinchidasti dhananjaya. I have nothing to be done, I have nothing to do, I have nothing to achieve in my life. Shows Purnatva. And then Mudaha, this, that, Stenaha, whatever comes to his mind, I think he has spoken out of frustration as a Ishvara. Anyway, and they give a joke also that when Abhimanyu died, Arjuna was crying, naturally, because his son. And then while crying, Arjuna heard somebody in the back crying louder than his crying. And therefore he turned back and saw Krishna was crying louder than Arjuna. Then Arjuna asked, "Why are you crying?" Bhagavan said, "Because you are crying. Therefore I am crying." Now you can understand two ways. Why I am crying? Because I am a guru, I have taught you everything. Right? This is before Abhimanyu died, before the war. I have already taught you Atma doesn't die, does not get birth. There is only one self, all this I have taught, and still you are crying for the Abhimanyu. Then I'm really crying, I'm feeling pity for myself that what I have taught to you. So I'm crying. Or else, if I take myself as your guru, Ahankara, and consider you as a Shishya, identifying with you, I am crying. Okay? Either way. So, thinking upon Arjuna as a Paramananda Shishya, that is what our Swami, he can cry. Ahankara can cry. Ahankara can never be Purna. And as Atma, I am Sada Purna. Just shifting the eye from small to big. Anyway, Agnyaha Dukkinaha Samsarantu. Agnyaha, these jivas, these samsaris who give a priority to Ahankara, predominance of Ahankara. Dukkinaha, they are very unhappy. Samsarantu, let them perform all whatever they want to do. Ihaloka, Amushmika Loka Sambandhi, whatever. So that is Samsarantu. So, Agnyaha Dukkinaha Samsarantu, they are unhappy and they are missing a lot of things, and let them perform worldly things. For what? Kamam, desiring what? Putradi apekshaya, desiring putra, etc., putri, whatever, son, daughter, or grandson, all that, whatever. For desiring all this, let them struggle. Samsarantu, let them struggle in the life. But when I look at myself from, see now, second line, now self-assessment at the level of Sakshi, Paramananda Purnoham. So when I look at myself as Paramananda Purna, well, I am complete, limitless self, and then definitely, there is nothing to achieve in my life, there is no struggle. In fact, any Ananda, Putrananda, gaining Putrananda is a Atmananda. Gaining Yogananda is Atmananda. Vishayananda is Atmananda. Nijananda is Atmananda. There are several Anandas in a Panchakam, it will come. Nijananda, Yogananda, and Vishayananda, etc. So many Anandas are there. All the Anandas are my reflection. That's it. Because other than Ananda of the self, which is nature, any other Ananda manifest in the mind. Either performing yoga, either experiencing Vishaya, either gaining knowledge. When you gain knowledge, there is Ananda. Gain clarity, there is Ananda. All manifestation of myself, because all pertaining to the mind. And there is an increase, decrease, etc. They are in the form of vrittis also, Vishayananda or anybody, any Ananda. And therefore they are my Pratibimbas. Any Ananda is a my Pratibimba. I am a Bimba Ananda. That's it. I am Bimba. From me all these Pratibimba are formed. So Putrananda also, Putrananda, Putrinanda, Pautrananda, Pautrinanda, whatever. All the Anandas are my manifestation alone. And therefore, Paramananda Purnoham. Kim ichchaya samsarami? Kim ichchaya? Kaya ichchaya? Well, what should I desire? Samsarami, what struggle should I, desiring what? I will have a struggle now. So people ask, to a Jnani, what do you want? And so Jnani has trouble, Jnani scratches his head, because he has no desire at all for all these things. Well, then he, so Kim Ichchaya Samsarami, Kaya Ichchaya Samsarami. Well, should I struggle in life? Desiring what should I struggle in life? Etc. So the first line is from Ahankara Drishti, Samsari Drishti. Second line is from Atma Drishti of Jnani Drishti. So this is an explanation of a part of the first line of verse 253. What? See, in 253, Aihika Amushmika Vrata Siddhyai. So here, Aihika Lok Phalam has been analyzed. At the level of Ahankara, whatever you gain is all that the Ahankara level, I mean Putra, etc. Because Putra mentioned means Aihika Phalam. Could you follow? So therefore, Aihika Loka Phalam has been analyzed of verse 253. I told you verse 253 only is analyzed now from verse 255 onwards. So this part, Aihika Loka Phalam. Vratam means a bunch, a group of Aihika Phalam. And in that he gave example of Putradi. Putra. Verse 256. Anutishtantu karmani paralokayasavah sarvalokatmakah kasmad anutishtami kim katham. Another group of Ajnanis now, samsaris, or in whose life the Ahankara alone is predominant, well, now has been addressed here. I mean, has been told here about him. There is a first line in 256. And naturally, what is the now next level? Amushmika phalam. Samsari desires what? Ahika phalam is okay. He is gaining also, and he has gained. After gaining Ahika phalam, he thinks about Amushmikam. Amushmika phalam. So that is also now has been. So now this person, Ajnani, Samsari, he wants to secure future. Paraloka phalam. Paraloka yasavaha. Desirous of going to a better world, better Janma. How? Iyasuhu, like Jignasuhu, Mumukshuhu, Bubukshuhu. Ya dhatu means to go. And therefore, Yasati, Yatum Ichchati, iti Yasati. One who desires to go to other world. Yasuhu, one who is desirous of going to another world. Like Jignasu, one who desires to know. Yasu, one who desires to go to another world. So Paralok, clear, desires to go to another world. Paraloka Yasavaha. It's a plural. Yasavaha. Jignasavaha means plural. Jignasuhu becomes Jignasavaha. Guruhu becomes Guravaha. Same way. Little bit Sanskrit. Okay. And therefore, Paraloka Yasavaha. Desiring another world, Karmani Anutishtantu. This samsaris, the people who look upon themselves as a ahankara, they look upon themselves as an individual. Those who have a ahankara drishti for themselves, for the self, they karmani anutishtantu, they have a desire to go to another world, and they definitely do karmas. Which karmas? Swamiji, I have a son. Yeah, I have a son. But, and in fact, Swamiji, we are fortunate that my son has married in our old circle, and she belongs to the same Varna, etc. Fine, very nice. And then, well, they married, they will have a child, etc. But now, still, Swamiji, I have a doubt that whether they will do some karma once we depart from this world or not. See, actually, all these karmas which are to be done later, once a person departs, for that the child should be married, and not only married, but he should be married to a girl of a same varna. If he Now, of course, this is I am talking about of an ancient history, so you have to just discard. But I have to talk, and therefore, basically, if he or she marries to some different varna, then definitely they cannot perform these karmas, any oblations and other things. But suppose if it is there, still there is a worry to this person, father, mother, both. Well, whether they will do or not, they will perform shraddha or not, they will do this after us or not. Karmani anutishtantu paraloka yasavaha. So, this the people who look upon themselves as these individuals, jiva, ahankara, well, they perform, they do varieties of the rituals. This is samsari's worry, that whether they will do or not, etc. And now, where do I stay? Jnani, where Jnani stays. See the second line. Sarvalokatmakaha aham. Law. Sarvalokatmakaha. I have not to go to Paraloka. Why? That loka is I. What are you saying? Swarga, better you go to Swarga. No. I don't want to go to Swarga. Why? I am Swarga. Oh, what are you saying? Sarvalokatmakaha. I am not a traveling ahankara at all. That's it. I am not a tourist. I am Atma who appears in the form of 14 lokas. Where? Has any Upanishad has talked about this or not? Yes. Ahamannam, 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 ahamannadaha, annadaha, annadaha, ahaggashlokakrit, 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 etc. Annam and annadaha together covers entire universe. Annam, annadaha. Annadaha, one who eats annam. Annamattiti annadaha, one who eats food. Yeah. Jnani is described as one who is eating food all the time. No. One who experiences everything. Annam is equal to lokaha. Why? Because loka dhatu means to experience. Lokaha means a realm of experience. Annam stands for lokaha. Aham annam. I am all the lokas, which are the objects of experience. Aham annadaha. I am the very experiencer of all these lokas. And therefore, definitely, he says that. And well, for such a person, kim anutishtami, what ritual I do, and katham anutishtami, in which manner should I do, or how should I do, kasmat anutishtami, with what particular purpose I should do, means the answer is what? No. This is akshepa. Kim anutishtami. What ritual I should do? I should not do any ritual. Ritual is ultimately to gain loka, which I am already. That's it. That's it. And therefore, katham anutishtami. How should I do? You should not do at all. Kasmat anutishtami. With what purpose should I do? With no purpose, you should not do. Okay? And therefore, this type of thing Bhagavan also said. Kam ghatayati. Hanti kam. Kam ghatayati. Desire, with what purpose does he kill someone? Who kills? Means nobody kills and nobody gets killed. That's it. Ghatayati, object of killing. Hanti, the subject of killing. And therefore, this indicates this is a self-assessment of a Jnani who knows Sakshi as Atma. The first line indicates a person who has an ahankara drishti for himself. Now third group of the Ajnani who runs after moksha. Verse 257. Vyachakshatam te shastrani vedanadhyapayantu va yetradhikarino me tu nadhikaro kriyatvatah. So third, see the verse 253. Ahika we discussed first in verse 255. Amushmika, Paraloka, etc. we discussed in the verse 256. And then Muktescha Siddhaye. For gaining moksha, the samsaris are struggling. That is discussed now in verse 257. So third group of Ajnanis, better Ajnanis compared to those two. Others are actually, this person Ajnani but Mumukshu. Whereas the verse 256 and verse 255 describes a Ajnani who is a Bubhukshu. So this is a difference. That person is a Bubhukshu. This person is a Mumukshu. Bubhukshu means Bhoktum Ichchati. Iha and Amushmika. Bhoktum. So Vidyaranya says, Shastrani te vyachakshatam. Let them struggle with the Shastra in search of moksha, these samsaris. Because as Ahankara, they are Pramata. They have to go after Pramana. They have to get Prama, etc., etc. And therefore, this is all samsara within the realm of ignorance. Atma is not a Pramata. So let them inquire into Shastra. Vyachakshatam, V plus A plus Chakshadatu, and it is Lot Pratham Purusha Bahuvachanam. Let them deeply look into Shastra. Means let them do Shravanam, Vedan Adhyapayantu. Let them share knowledge in form of Nididhyasanam. So, Vyachakshatam indicates, Shravanam. Deeply look into Shastra means let them do Shravanam. Vedan Adhyapayantu in form of teaching, Nididhyasanam. Therefore, let them share knowledge in form of Nididhyasanam. So, let them practice Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So, whatever they do for what? For Sadhyam Moksha. And therefore, people, and Swamiji, such people are there. Our most of the people, they, very innocently they say, Swamiji, we are studying since 20 years, please give me blessing so I get moksha. So, moksha is a sadhya or not? Please say, tell. So, ye atra adhikarina. Well, these people or adhikari, they have got a sadhan chatushte sampatti. This sadhan chatushte sampatti belongs to Brahman or belongs to Sakshi or belongs to Ahankara? Belongs to Ahankara. Belongs to mind. Means Ahankara. And therefore, ye atra means what? Vedanta vichare adhikarina. Well, now in analyzing the Shastra, Vakya, Mahavakya, etc., now they are adhikari. Metuna adhikarina. Metuna adhikaraha. I don't look upon myself as a sadhan chatusha sampanna, mumuksha, etc. Moksha is not a sadhyam for me. I am something about whom we are calling. We are talking about trupti follow, right? And then who has gained knowledge, that jnani's drashti we are talking. And therefore, so he says I am unqualified for all of them. Akriyatvatah. I can't perform any sadhana. I am nitya mukta atma. Akriyatvatah means what? I am actionless atma actually. So with this, we have completed the analysis of first line of verse 253. Big question is going to come. He has no purpose in the life and this and that. Then why he is eating? Why he is taking bath? Why he is sleeping? For what? What? And if you say he is doing all this and yet no purpose, then we will not take him jnani, we will take him murkha. Murkha. Yeah? So murkha is the one who does a lot of activity without any purpose. Now you say he is a fulfilled person, he doesn't trupti, and therefore he doesn't have any purpose. Then why he is taking bath every morning, or twice or thrice he is taking in a day? He is eating food, going to die. Why he is doing all this? Then he has purpose. If he has a purpose, he has no trupti. He has no trupti. Means jnani, well, he is a nitya, so and therefore he should not take bath, he should not eat, he should not even breathe air also. Nothing he should do. That's it. Okay. Vidyaranya is always ready with the unique answer. We'll see that in next time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.